Half and Half, Season 1, Episode 1. Here we go. Capuchin, are you ready?
I'm excited.
I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited to share the story. I've been in a lot of podcasts, but it's so fun to now have our own, to share this journey with you. I can't wait to take people on a journey and on a ride and through each episode, and most importantly, open up our family.
I'm very excited. I'm excited for people to hear more about your story more in depth, and especially in this season, I think we really need to go way, way back, and I'm excited to kind of sit back and hear more about your life in depth.
Well,
let's get
thank you.
started.
And to anybody that's gonna listen, and we're gonna take you on a journey. Thanks for supporting us, and yeah, let's get this on the road. Hopefully we can share some funny moments, some laughter, some learning moments, and maybe some tears too. Who knows? And maybe I can reconnect with some old friends from Albania from my childhood because I've lost touch with so many people. So hopefully this podcast will also do that.
The power of social media. Right, well, let's get into it. I think that a lot of people don't know about the beginning of your story, way back, like in Albania. And so, because you moved here when you were 10 years old, right? Okay, so I think we should go back before that, before you even moved here, before you met Dad, before me, before everything. I want to know more about the beginning in Albania, your roots there.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about my roots in Albania. But before I do that, for those that don't know you, you're Cara Campoverde. Like, you gotta tell people a little bit about who you are real quick.
That's true, it's true.
My name is Greta Bayrami, but your name is Cara Campoverde. That right there we'll have to explain later on. But yes, you are my daughter, and I am your mom.
This is true. So I'm Cara Campoverde. I'm half Albanian, half Ecuadorian, half and half. My mom is Greta Bayrami, and my father is Freddie Campoverde, so that's where Campoverde comes from. Fun fact, Campoverde means green fields, which everyone tells me every time I meet them, and I'm always like, yeah, I know what my last name means. But they're like, did you know that your last name means green fields? And I'm like, no, actually, my whole life I've gone without knowing that. Thank you so much for being the first person to tell me that. But about me, well, I'm 18 years old, and I'm studying business at university now. Just finished my first year.
Ooh,
Excited
so
to start
cool.
the second.
You just finished your first year of college. It's wild.
Bizarre, right?
I still view you as like a baby, but I think that's just every mom in the world.
This is true. I mean, I think you view me as that, but I think we all still view each other as more than that, like kind of like sisters sometimes. Especially now that I'm. Why, you don't agree?
I do agree, but maybe sister is pushing it because then people are going to be like, I still have to be your mom. But yeah, no, thank you for introducing yourself for those that don't know you, because sometimes people wonder, like, Cara Campoverde, because we don't have the same last name.
It's so bizarre. And even when we go to events or stuff like this, or just in general, people are always like, oh, like when I go to your events or your speaking panels and stuff, and I'm Cara Campoverde and my name's time, people are like, oh, like, who are you? What are you? And then like, I'm like, oh, I'm Kiara, Greta's daughter. And they're like, really? I did not know that. Like, your last names and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I guess that's a perfect place to start. The last names are different because I'm an only child. And although I wanted to take your father's last name, which I legally actually do have it, I wanted to keep Greta Bayrami just because I'm an only child. So it kind of like dies with me. So that's the whole reason. There's no other reason behind keeping the last name. And I grew up obviously in Albania. I was born in the most beautiful place in the world, I think. But then again, I'm biased, like every Albanian is. I was born in Vjora, which is like this beautiful coastal Adriatic, beautiful Ionian Sea, I should say, city. And it has the most magnificent views, hills, olive groves, tangerines, lemons. It's just the most beautiful place in the world. And I grew up there, but then not for long because my mom was in Tirana. So my mom was from Tirana, so we had to move back where she was. She was a surgeon, so we had to go back.
Why was she in Florida?
So my mom had to go to Tirana. She was a surgeon. So we moved back, and we lived very humbly because we didn't have much. I think doctors in Albania in the 90s, early 90s, they did it because they were very passionate. They didn't do it necessarily because they were expecting a really big payout. Actually, funny enough, my mom lived in the dormitories that were for residents, medical residents in Tirana, in this neighborhood called Medresea. And the dormitories for residents, at that time, they were allowed to bring their children. So we were 7 stories, and in this a residence hall with shared bathrooms, just like a normal college dorm that you have at school. Lived me with other children as our parents were residents and our parents were doctors.
Were you close with the other children?
Very close. They're some of those are still my friends today, and it's amazing how all the people that lived there became incredibly successful people. We grew up watching our parents, save lives in Albania in time of war, and we watch our parents, get paid very, very little salaries, like making. And because during that time in Albania, people couldn't really pay for medical, so my mom would get paid in like meat, and she'd get paid with eggs, and she'd get paid with milk. And so we always had good stuff like that because farmers were always coming to my mom, and they would also know her because of her village. She grew up in Zalher. So people would come and look for Shadia, Shabani, and they would like bring her eggs and cheese so that she could see them. And and I grew up with in this seventh story. I was in seventh floor, and it was one big room, like very large. And then we shared the bathrooms with the other families.
Wow. So it was just you. So how many people were in one room then?
I mean, the rooms were solely alone, but on the floor we shared it with other people. We
Okay.
just shared the bathrooms.
And how would the living condition, like the building itself, like where
The building was in pretty poor condition. It was one large room, and my mom actually divided it with curtains. I know it's like very hard to imagine, but like picture.
No, I'm trying to paint a picture in my head, so the more detail.
Yeah, so like picture a square room, like square, and then picture it being very large, like in depth, but not very large, but like, let's say 700 square feet. And then my mom wanted to create like rooms. So what she thought was very creative, and the other doctors, to take curtains and like drill into the ceiling to have like blackout curtains, so they could separate like spaces. So we could have like one space in the living room, and then do a draped curtain in the ceiling, and then have that be the bedroom, and then do it again to have it be like a little kitchenette. And the kitchenette that they had during that time, they were cooking like of like a bomba gazi. I don't know how they say it in English, but it was like a little gas kind of propane gas tank type situation where you would cook. And that is how we lived, and that was very normal to me. And
and how about like the running water and stuff like that? Like
it was very difficult time in Albania because there was no running water all the time.
Okay, wow.
Water came in the morning and came in the afternoon in Albania during that time. So as a child, your mom would like tell you, go, 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 like water just can't carry the way. And then you would go and like, you would fill up as many buckets as you could, and you would fill up like your bottles of water, and you would get ready for when you didn't have water. In some cases, the water situation was very difficult, and we had to like go get water in a water well and then like carry it back. But for me at that time, like as a 6-year-old, it was fun. Like I didn't think it was hard. Like imagine being 6 years old, your mom's telling you to climb down 7 flights of stairs and then climb back up, bringing like 2 gallons of water. But to me, that was like everyday life, and I found it an adventure.
It's like when they say like it's all you know, so like you don't really think that's bad because that was all you knew.
That's all I knew. Yeah, that was very.
And how long did you live there?
I think I don't have really good memories, but I think I was there like 3 to 4 years of my life.
Okay.
And it was really fun growing up there because the neighbors sort of took care of one another. So if my mom was stuck in an operation, then the other doctors that maybe weren't on rotation that day, they would take care of me and they would feed me because my mother, like, her mom's in surgery, like, come here, like, we'll feed you.
Yeah.
So we were always wandering, like, up and down in the 7 stories, being fed at each other's houses and being taken care of. We had like our own ecosystem as our parents were saving lives. All the kids of the medical residents during that time, we had our own ecosystem. We were all relying on one another.
And growing up, like watching that firsthand, did that ever make you curious, like, or think of a career in medicine?
Never. I never want to be a doctor. I'm actually petrified of doctors. Thank you for asking. I'm petrified of the dentist. I'm petrified of doctors. If somebody listening has like something to help me like recover from this fear, I would like to connect with you. It's just something like, first of all, the dentist, I'm very afraid because dental care in that time in Albania, like they didn't really have resources for like putting you to be numb. So dentists would like literally tell you to hold back and like hold you with his hand and then just like extract your tooth. Then you would feel everything. There was no numbing that thing. You would just feel your soul being ripped out of you. So that's why I hate the dentist, because I'm just like the smell.
No, I know. Even when I go to my dentist appointments, you don't even come with me.
I can't.
You either send me with Grandma, or now that I'm 18, you're like, you can do it. You got it. It's just a cleaning.
Thank you for doing it. And you do Enzo too.
Yeah. Now I take Enzo to the dentist as well. So.
And like for doctor, I grew up so much waiting in my mom's waiting hall. Like when my mom would go into surgery for a long period of time, especially in the weekend, I would go inside like the room where the doctors would wait during their shifts, and I would sit there for hours. And during that time, Kara, there was no iPhones, there was no TikTok videos you could watch. It was just staring at walls. So, and the color in that hospital, Hospital Stark, the main hospital in Tirana, was so ugly. It was like a green color wall. I'll never forget. And I used to stare at that wall for long periods of time, and I hated it so much. And I would ask the guy, like, how much longer is my mom coming out soon? They'd be like, oh, just a little longer, like just a little longer. So my early childhood memories are in that room with that horrible smell of hospital, and I was like, I'm never gonna be a doctor in my life.
So when did you move out of that dormitory? Like how old were you?
When we came to America,
So, okay, but what about like
my whole life was there.
Okay.
My whole upbringing was there in that dormitory because my mom didn't have money during that time. Albanian doctors today are very different. Doctors in Albania today are very affluent. They obviously get, well, take that back. Not like doctors in Albania today are not as bad as they were back then. Of course, there's doctors that still struggle and they don't get paid nearly what they should be paid, and that's a whole separate discussion for another day. But I think where Albania was in 1995, 96 is very different than where it is today. Like definitely those doctors were not wealthy. I mean, you did it because you were passionate.
Purely passion.
And my mom had and still has passion. Like I have the most beautiful stories in Albania because my mom grew up in a village called Zalher, and she was like she was a midwife first, and she became like, you know, she wanted to be to help her villagers, and she became sort of their guiding light. Like everybody would go to Shadia for everything that they had wrong with them, and then she kind of took that to the city, and people knew her. And it's so beautiful for me to go back now. Even with you, we've had some instances where people will like kiss my hand and give me a hug because my mom had a big impact in their life or saved their life or, you know, made them feel better. And it's just the most beautiful thing in the world because she was so selfless. Like she grew up in a farm and she knew she wanted to help people around her. And looking back at it, like I think that's where my DNA starts, in her bravery.
Yeah, definitely. And so what year did you get the green card?
So in 1998, this beautiful thing called the American Lottery.
That's when it officially started?
I don't know. I think it started way earlier than that.
Okay.
But my mom applied for the American Lottery system in 1998. That's actually a way that a lot of immigrants come from the Balkan region into the United States. It's literally like a lottery system. Like you pay a couple of dollars, you make an application, you drop it in the mail, and you send it out, and you hope that they pick you. The American ambassador, they do like a random selection. They pick like the first round of families. And then those families will move on to other interviews until the American ambassador decides if you're a good fit for America. And if he decides you're a good fit for America, you get a green card. Like it is the most incredible way to come to this country because you come with a green card, and then you can become an American citizen within 5 years of working, paying taxes, and being a good citizen in this country. So it was the most beautiful thing because my mom was waiting for a bus. It was raining. And everybody had told her about the American lottery system, and the bus was late. And she was like, let me go do this paperwork. It was 50 cents. And 50 cents was a lot in Albania at that time. My mom, I don't know if she wanted to go spend money, but she was like, let me go pay for it. And she goes and buys this and fills it out. And then back then, the courier, when they would come to drop off mail in Albania to you, like they would scream your name at the bottom of the building to tell you you got mail.
Wow.
They wouldn't come to you because nobody really got mail in Albania.
Yeah.
It was only like it was super official. Like mail is just becoming a thing now in the last 10 years, but back then, like there was not really mail.
Okay.
And it was so funny. The courier's like, you have mail from the American embassy. Like it's from America, because everybody knew that envelope was the American lottery.
Yeah.
And like the whole neighborhood at the same moment that we knew too that we had gotten the American lottery. And it was the most beautiful time. And during that time, actually, the American embassy was closed in Albania because it was during the war. So we had to go to Athens, Greece, to get the last interview and essentially receive the go, you know, to come to the United States. And I remember that was also my first time ever leaving Albania. So I was so amazed. It was my first time getting on a plane to go to Athens. And wow. I arrived in Athens, and then I met the American ambassador.
Did they pay for the journey there?
No, my uncle, my mom's brother, sponsored us to be able to take that. Like we didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. So he was in Italy during that time, my uncle Agron, and he sponsored us to be able to, you know, so we're very grateful that he was able to provide for us so we could go to get this final interview. And I remember my mom and dad being so nervous because the people in front of us got declined. And they were like, oh my God, like in that moment, you taste freedom. In that moment when you're sitting in the American embassy in Athens, you taste freedom. You say to yourself, like, America's right there. Like, my life could change. And I remember my heart beating so fast because my mom and dad heart was beating so fast. And then my mom and dad go in, and obviously I don't understand any English. But the guy does a few questions to my mom. She spoke very little English. Then they have a translator, whatever. And then in the end, the American ambassador looks at me and he goes, "Welcome to America."
Wow.
And I knew that we had won it. And I remember like laughing, screaming, crying. And my parents had bought like a briefcase with like, the paper. They like opened the briefcase. They like put the paperwork in there. They sealed it. They're like, "Let's go." And it was the best day of my life.
And then how long was like from that moment till you leaving? What was the time?
I think we waited like 6 months.
Okay.
We left in September that year.
And how old were you?
I was 10 years old. So I was like,
Wow.
I went back to Albania. I finished my school year. I said goodbye to all my friends. My mom made me a big party for my birthday because we were going to America. It was my 10th birthday party. It was like a big bash. I rented like a discoteca in the morning because my friend used to own like a nightclub. So his father gave it to me in the morning. We partied with all my friends at Britney Spears and sang Backstreet Boys. I had the biggest cake in the world because I was going to America, and it was like my farewell party. And it was like the most beautiful thing in the world. Yeah, we can talk more about it, but that was a beautiful moment.
Well, it sounds crazy to think about. That's where your journey started. And I mean, it's like something out of a movie. It's crazy, honestly, like hearing it. I can't imagine that.
I was very happy. I was very happy that my family had the opportunity to be in Albania during that time. Like, it was a very sad time to be in Albania growing up, and to me, it felt like we had won the Willy Wonka moment. It was like that golden ticket, like, we're getting out of here. Like, our life's gonna change.
But what about like Linda with her job and everything, like being a doctor? All that
I mean,
school?
being a doctor during that time, like, she loved it. It was passionate, but it didn't mean anything. Like, we didn't have money. We lived in the dormitory, like the free residence hall that was given to my parents. I mean, it wasn't like we were living much. We didn't have anything. So it was not like we were leaving behind like a mega mansion that,
No, I
or
understand.
like a career that none had.
Yeah. But like, okay, so now you guys come to America. It's 2000, year 2000, and where did you come? For those that don't know, where did you?
Oh yeah, so during that time,
Oh yeah, okay, sorry.
during that time you had to get a sponsor, to like find you like a person, and we didn't know anybody in America because we had never met. But my mom found somebody that wanted her job position, and she was like, "Hey, like, since you're giving me your job position, I have a son in America, and he'll wait for you at the airport, and he'll find you a house, and he'll like get you some groceries and help you with your furniture." And my mom was so grateful because we ended up in Worcester, Massachusetts. So we left Albania, the turmoil, the civil war during that time, and then we come to America.
You grew up in like during war time.
I grew up during political like turmoil. It was a war, but I wouldn't call it an official war. Obviously, there was conflict throughout Albania because as communism had fallen, there was a lot of people trying to get like government. I don't know much about it because I was a child, and when somebody listening would be like, "Oh, what is she talking about?" But I just remember that there was people that didn't identify with the government, and they wanted to overtake it, and there was weapons, and these people had broken into armories, and they were using grenades, guns of all kinds, tanks, and they were using it to get to essentially take over and overthrow the government in especially the southern territory. And I got stuck in Vlora for a little bit because when the war broke out and they started like not letting people pass through certain areas of Albania, I was stuck in Vlora. It was like a terrible time. I miss my parents because the people in the capital of Tirana, like, they didn't really get affected as much as the people to the north got affected and as the people to the south. But I was stuck in the south, and it was pretty terrible because you would see bullets flying everywhere. And they're actually during that time, there was like bullets that would fly into like people's houses while they were eating.
I remember when we went to visit Laura a couple years ago, and we went to the older buildings, and you were showing me like the bullet holes.
Yeah, there's still a lot of bullet holes in a lot of older buildings. It's pretty sad. Yeah, you hear that every day. That was like a normal, and you would see these tankers going up and down the street of Dora, and sometimes they would like raise it up to like scare people. But hey, like, we could shoot you at any time. People didn't really go out. People, especially young women during that time in Albania, didn't go out. It was very scary to be a young woman during that time. Like, luckily, I was just 6, 7 years old.
Did you ever see anything firsthand, any violence?
Yes, I saw. I mean, I saw my first share of violence of all sorts. You know, I think the saddest thing I ever saw was I was having lunch. It was like 2 p.m. I was eating lunch with my dad, and all of a sudden I hear a girl screaming. And my grandmother was like, "Do not go to the window because if they see that you saw something, it's very bad." And I remember still wanting to go to the window, and then I remember going to the window, even though she told me don't go to the window. And then I look out, just like a little peep. I look out and I see this girl like that had been massacred and like left there on the floor. And
You
it was
saw
so
it?
sad.
You saw the blood and everything?
Yes, I mean, it's sad to say it to you because you keep asking, like, you saw it, you saw it.
I mean, like, that's just so surreal to me. Like, that's so crazy.
But
it's just, you've seen so much.
Yeah,
and,
to me, 1997 Albania, though, that was normal for me. Like,
but it's not normal.
it's not normal, but that was normal for me. Like seeing these,
Like, I think today if Enzo or I saw that, like,
yeah, to you guys it wouldn't be normal, but to me, watching these, gangsters at that time, like killing innocent people or people that they thought had something to do with some political movement that they didn't believe in, and watching them get murdered, like to me, that was like it was happening. It was just part of Albania during that time. And as a kid, you stayed inside and you didn't go out, and your grandma went to do the shopping and get the water and everything, and you stayed inside. And actually, it's really crazy. My grandmother used to put us in the kitchen area because it was like the area where the column of the building, the concrete column, was the thickest. So she knew like no bullet would penetrate through there, even if it did come. So she would make us there all the time. And actually, during that time, I had so much PTSD that anytime I'd hear like a bullet or like a gun go off, even if I was napping, I would go underneath the couch automatically because I used to do that all the time. I used to take naps and I used to hear like a Kalashnikov like, and I used to go underneath the couch immediately.
And did you ever like lose any friends during this time, or like people that you were close to?
Not that I remember, like I think my parents, but not that I remember. In my memories, I don't remember anybody close to us being hurt, but there doesn't mean that there wasn't, but I just personally don't remember it.
Maybe you just like your memory tune that out.
Yeah, maybe. It could be. I was a little kid. I remember people would put like sand in their windows to protect them from bullets and stuff. That's like a vivid memory of mine in Georgia.
Wow.
But also like to the north, when I got back to Tirana, what was happening in Kosovo was really sad because then I would watch like Kosovo people coming to Tirana, Skanderbeu Square, like the buses would come with refugees and they would unload them there. And me as a kid, I would go there with my mom because she would help out, and then we would go there and like, there was a shelter and support systems. And then I remember my vividest memory there was that I would take kids out for ice cream. My mom would give me like 20, 30 cents, and she would be like, go and have some ice cream. So I would go find the kids that were like coming off the buses and as refugees. They had seen so much with their eyes that probably no one deserves to see in their whole lifetime. And when you would say, come, let's get ice cream, and they would all come.
I think that Albania has such a sad and crazy past and history that a lot of people don't talk about, and I feel like it's now starting to be talked about more, but it's crazy that you even experienced that firsthand and you have these stories.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't experience as much as other people because I was young.
I mean,
6, 7.
yeah, but you still saw it with your eyes.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. It was definitely sad. It's me and my cousins talk about it all the time. Like the fact that like we don't have any trauma from it or like PTSD or sadness from it is unreal. Like to us, it's just like it's just part of life. It was just something that was meant to happen, and it happened, and it's part of our history. But yeah, I was happy to come to America, though.
Oh my God, you're always so optimistic. Okay, and so then when you came to Worcester, Massachusetts, Worcester, out of all places in the whole United States.
Yeah, Hollywood. That's what I thought. When people
what was your first impression of Worcester? I'm curious.
No, my first impression was that I was going to get off the plane and I was going to come to Hollywood because that is what you think America looks like when you're not living here.
I so agree. Like even like the international students that come, like when they think of America, it's like Times Square, the walk of the Star, the Hall of Fame, and it's America, the Hollywood sign, the Statue of Liberty. It's like those big monuments in Las Vegas. And
I thought I was getting all of that in some because like I used to watch movies on TV in Albania and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to America, like the best place in the world. But sadly, it did not look like that. Worcester was not pretty at all, and I was like,
hey, Worcester has some good.
Are you kidding me? No, it wasn't pretty. And then I was like, oh, this is not America. And I remember my dad actually. My dad is really funny. My dad was like such the culture shock that like we were paying the first and last payment, and he was like, maybe we shouldn't pay the last payment because like we don't know if we're leaving. And my mom looks at my dad and she's like, here's the last payment. I think she was like, where do you think you're going, buddy? Like we've already left everything behind. Oh, and funny fact, because it was before 9/11, we could bring as many luggages as we wanted. It was like unlimited luggages there at that time.
Yeah, you guys came before 9/11. That's
So we,
1 year prior.
yeah, so we had like 12 luggages.
Yeah, how was traveling
Even
back then? I'm always like, so
I don't
curious.
remember it like very vividly. I would not be lying to you if I remembered it very vividly, but I remember that my mom brought like 12 luggages. We had forks, knives, spoons. We even had plates. We had tanzera. We had like direct
Did you
pans.
did you bring food or fruit?
No. We brought literally our whole house, like paired there. Like we had like the beautiful immigrant go-to kit, which is those nice like big cozy. What are they made of? Those blankets that you put on your bed.
Oh my god, with the tiger.
With a tiger face on, and we had all of that. Like we were all set.
Immigrant starter pack.
Yeah, but then we came to America and we landed in Worcester, and our first night was very lonely because the guy that helped us get into our apartment, like he could only help us get the mattress because obviously you have to put the order for the bedroom. So like we slept on the floor in the mattress, just me, my dad, and my mom, like on the same mattress. And the first night was just like this big empty place. It was like a red carpet apartment. It was hideous. And the mattress on the floor and 11 luggages, and that's it.
But to you, was it still like because of where you were living prior in Albania? Was it still like glamorous in a way?
No, not really. I was very lonely. Listen, even though I didn't have a glamorous life in Albania, I had a very intellectually rich life in Albania. My friends and I would recite poetry in the hallways. We would make Miss Palati. We would do like Miss Universe, but
Wait,
like
what's that? Malati?
it's like the Miss Universe version, including boys and girls, and of our tower.
Oh my
And-
god. Wait, I remember you. She is the best Miss Palati impression. Like when you did some, I have to pull up that video.
Yes, and I would listen, we would do poetry, we would do like show us our talent, we would recite, we would sing, we would dance, we would act, we would do a whole like theater. I mean, we were very intellectually rich.
I think that's something that. Sorry.
No,
I think that's something that's very sad about this new generation. Like none of them really have that. Like they need like that iPad or phone or TV. You know, they get bored easily. Because even in my childhood, before, you know, like I would say like part of my childhood, like we would do all these things like outside with like chalk, and you know we would have fun together. We would do activities. Whereas like now, a lot of kids they don't do that. They need like something more stimulating.
Yeah, no, I mean we did.
It's really sad. I just think that
Everything was fun. Like everything was like in Albania. Growing up during that time, going back to Albania for a minute, like yeah, we were very poor, but we were very intellectually rich. Like we were going to the theater, we were going to book exposition and like reading, like and we were going, to live type of reciting and poetry festivals, and we learned so much at such a young age, and we had all these skill sets. Like in Albania, one of the most beautiful ththings about growing up during that time is that you had to recite. You had to recite your homework. You had to recite this chapter, the future chapter. You had to recite an expression, a reason that you made you feel. So you were like public speaking was your first grade skill set that faced out guitars. You even learned how to like recite the whole alphabet and sing it proudly. If your letter was like B or A, and you were like, I'm gonna go and like sing for letter A.
That explains a lot about like your personality today.
Or all Albanians. Essentially, they all have incredible speaking skills and public speaking
And
skills.
literature, like definitely like with English, you know, just like as a subject. I mean, they're very Albanians are very talented.
Oh, and I was like student of the month, like for a lot of times. And my student of the month is epic. Like I hope somebody listening like this could like tell a story and maybe like call me and comment. But my dad had to take my student of the month picture when my mom was at working one day. And so he didn't know how you're supposed to do it. So what he did is he gelled my hair all the way back, and he put it on a ponytail, and he like brought me to the Albanian guy that takes pictures and told me, don't smile, like be very serious. So I'm like looking serious, and I'm like all gelled back, and I'm like a boy. And when that picture got printed, I looked so bad. And then it was printed in my whole Skender Chachi elementary school, and for everybody to see forever.
I wish we could find those.
No, I wish we could buy those pictures. I would love that. I'd pay a fortune for those pictures today.
You had this dream childhood, you know, waiting over with how little you had. You have all these memories and all these these people and these experiences that a lot of kids lack, and it's something money can't buy. And now you come to America and you have no one, nothing, just you, your mom and your dad. So how was your childhood? Because you're 10, you're still in your early childhood.
Yeah, I mean,
how was that in America?
it was very interesting because when I was in Worcester, I actually skipped school a lot, like because my dad found out that I skipped school because they would call my house and then I would delete the message so my parents didn't hear it. But one day I forgot to delete it. My parents found out. So when I came here in fifth grade, and I didn't really like it because I felt like bullied. I didn't fit in. I wore like the same 5 outfits all the time. It was like these anime jumpsuits. They were like the same color that like a lot of immigrant kids were wearing that time in America, in Albania. And I didn't have money to buy clothes here, so I looked very different. And I would always tie my hair in a ponytail because I thought that's like what you did, because that's what kids in Albania would do. But girls here would like curl their hair, cream, crunch their hair. They would do all these things. So I was like a very weird immigrant kid, and also my mom made me eat like lunch and breakfast at the school because meals were like, it was tough times. So she was like, take advantage of that free food. So I was like a very weird kid for that because like during that time they were very bullied, like the kids that ate like the school lunch and school breakfast. And also I was in ESL, which made me like very weird. People didn't really associate themselves with the ESL kids.
How much English did you know?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. I knew, how are you? What's your name? Pizza.
That's good.
How old are you? That's about it. And so it was very sad because it was very hard for me to fit in the first like few months. So like I would pretend like I was going to school, and then I would like turn around and go back home because my parents worked during the morning. And then it was my first floor neighbor who was also the landlord. His name was Alfred. And he like told me like, are you afraid to go to school? I'm gonna drop you off. And then he would drop me off, and he became like my grandfather during that time. He was actually a very important person in my life. He was like my first mentor, my first most important person in my life because he was a Polish immigrant. He had never gotten married, and he like kind of took me and my parents in, and we didn't have a car, so he would drive us places, especially in bad weather. Like if we needed to go buy food, get groceries, like he would bring us.
So it's kind of like a person sent from you.
Yeah, he became a grandfather though because he would bring me to the pool, like the city pool. Like there was like free city pools back in the day in Worcester. He'd bring me there in the summer, and like he'd sit in the car. He taught me a lot of English because we spent a lot of time together. He he was really amazing. He taught me how to cut coupons to go to like Arby's and like Papagenos and like use them to get like a discount. And then last but not least, he bought me my first ever computer. He knew that I wanted a computer really, really bad. And my first full year in America, it was Christmas, and he bought me my first Apple, like the Macintosh, the ones that had like different colors. Mine was purple. And he did it like the whole Santa thing. He like rang the doorbell, he ran downstairs. But he passed away. He had a heart attack, he had a stroke.
How old were you when he passed away?
I think I'd only been in America like 3-4 years.
So
and then
13, 14.
Yeah, and even when he passed, my parents continued to visit him in the nursing home, just to always like be there for him, just because he had been there for us. He ended up passing away, but he had a stroke first.
Okay,
He
so
ended up
you
in
made
the
it to
nursing
the
home,
hospital.
then he passed away.
And then, did you ever visit his grave?
My parents did not me. I'm not good with that stuff. We won't talk about that. Death for me is very.
Okay.
I don't like. Some people are very good with it, but yeah, that was my coming to America story.
Okay, wow, that's a lot, definitely. I mean, your childhood from Albania versus your childhood here is, very different, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I had a unique upbringing, I would say, very different than most. And then I got this really wonderful opportunity with my parents to come to the land of opportunity. I think as a 10-year-old, when people tell you you're going to America, it's just like a dream, right? You're going to America, like the land of opportunity, the land of freedom, the land of the movies, the stars.
It's a lot of things that Americans like take for granted a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that today. If
Yeah.
you were to ask me today, and you ask me all the time, like, Mom, what do you think about America? America to me is the best place in the world because it's freedom. And if you don't believe that, I challenge you to go to another country and call the police and try to fight for your rights and try to fight for your voice, and let's see how far you get before your freedom is cut short. And I think that is what America is. It's truly the land.
Yeah,
for
I think that every place has its good and bads, and a lot of people tend to look at the bads more than the goods. But I think it's very. I love how you, as an immigrant, you don't put America down. You really lift it up.
Oh, I lift it up. Like, this is the only country in the world that has given me my freedom, my identity, my voice, and it's allowed my story to have a prosperous ending, like which we'll get to it on the next episode, I think, because I think we're out of time. We're out of time.
We'll get into where I come in. You know, now that we've settled Albania.
Listen, yeah, like we could talk about like why you're coming.
I mean, yeah, we'll talk about like you know whether I was even supposed to happen or not. So.
Ooh, all right. Well, there you have it. Episode 1.
Half
See
and
you
half.
on the next one.